Welcome back, everyone. I hope you have been enjoying Zoomtopia as much as I have. As we close out day one, I want to thank each and every one of you who is tuning in to our first virtual conference. We have so much more to offer you tomorrow, so please make sure to join us. Mark, thank you for joining us today. We have been looking forward to today's fireside chat for a very long time. I'm a huge fan. Thank you.
For having me. Yeah, I'm excited to be part of Zoomtopia day one. I'm really excited, so thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much, Mark. I have prepared some questions, and I'm sure our Zoomtopia audience will have some questions as well. But before that, given we are both big fans of basketball, I'd like to play a virtual pickup game with you. How about this? I will pick up 4 current NBA players, and you pick up 4 as well. Okay. And to keep it fair, let's not pick up anyone from the Mavericks team.
Oh, I can't do that. No.
Is that okay? If you don't mind, I can start.
Oh, golly. See, I can't win on that one.
I think you might, as let's say. So for my team, I'd pick Andre Iguodala for my coach and also small forward. Okay. And I've actually got him here with me at Zoomtopia for Zoom in moment.
Good.
I'd also pick up Stephen Curry and LeBron James for point guard and shooting guard, respectively.
Okay.
And Anthony Davis, he will be my team's power forward. And I will be the center with height 5'8".
Okay.
Who will be your team?
That's not fair because I can't pick some of the best players because there's my team. So, but then I'm taking Kawhi. I'm taking, let's see, Kawhi. I'll take Kyle Lowry.
Great pick.
I'll take Joel Embiid.
Yep.
And I need a shooter. I'll take Klay Thompson since that's your neck of the woods. And I'll take me too. I'll take me.
Which position are you going to play, Mark?
I can play them all, Eric. I can play it all. Just give me the ball, and the ball's going in. When my shot goes up, it's wet.
It's really hard for me to defend you because I'm going to put a center down. All right?
It does. You can put Andre on me. He's not stopping me. He knows I get buckets.
I will tell him. So now you already pick up your team. And also let's open up the live the pool, right? Let's see whose team will win. Sound good?
Okay.
And also probably it will take like 30 or 40 seconds. This is live poll from the audience.
Okay.
And who do you think will be MVP of the game? Who is going to be the MVP of the game? Who is going to have outstanding performance?
You asking me or the audience?
I think for the team. You think Stephen or maybe someone from your team? It's going to be
me.
Oh, okay.
No, I go with Kawhi.
Okay.
It's Stephen Kawhi.
I know actually you will shoot for 40 points. Stephen Curry for my team, I would say maybe 39 points. I think you are so right. You will be MVP. Hopefully, our team is going to win.
Hopefully, I'm ready for that.
Wow. Mark's team, 51%. Eric's team, 49%. You are right. You are the MVP. You are winning now.
That's close. That's close.
There's no way for a team with 5'8" at the center to beat an NBA boss team. Thank you, Mark. So, as you know, to build a company normally takes many years of effort, right? You have to have a great team, very loyal team. You are very well known for your loyalty to your team. And that loyalty is a two-way street. I'm thinking of Dirk Nowitzki, and how he stayed with your team for the whole of his 21-year career and retired as a Maverick. How do you express that loyalty as a boss? And why do you think that loyalty is so important to you?
You know, in order for any company to be successful, whether it's a basketball team, Zoom, or any organization, you've got to be able to listen to your employees. You've got to be authentic with them. You've got to be able to understand what's important to them. And the same applied with Dirk, you know, and you also have to recognize when they go all in for you. We all have those employees that increase our stress, but we love those employees that reduce our stress. You know, people that you know every single day are going to do everything they can to be successful and to make the organization successful. And when you see that, you want to reward it with loyalty. And that's exactly what we did with Dirk. You know, Father Time is undefeated in the NBA. Every player is going to slow down at some point. But when somebody gives you their heart and soul for 21 years, you give it right back to them. And I'm proud that Dirk and I were together for so long. We're still friends. We'll be friends forever. You can see that trophy behind me.
Yes.
Because and so when you have somebody that really puts it on the line for you every day, that deserves loyalty. I would do the same thing over again every single time.
Thank you, Mark. It's great advice. If I play for you, also be very loyal as well. For all the Zoom employees in the audience, hopefully all of you will be like a Dirk. Thank you. So there have been news reports about your involvement with Delonte West.
Right.
I know that you've declined to comment, but perhaps you can talk about giving back. Why does it matter? And what are some of the ways that we can all look to do more?
You know, with Delonte specifically, you know, he's somebody that played for the Mavs just 1 year, but he gave everything he had. But even then, we realized that there were mental health issues, and we tried to help him along the way. And this goes to your question of giving back. You know, mental health is an issue that each and every year we become more cognizant is something that more people than we ever imagined have to deal with their own way, right? There's so many different effects that come from mental health issues. And so as an employer, you know, and as a human being, you know, you want to be aware that if you have enough people work for you, there are going to be mental health issues. If you're part of your community, as a professional sports team is, you know, the Dallas Mavericks are part of North Texas, you're going to be part of a community that where a significant percentage of the population or a real percentage of the population has mental health issues. So when we find somebody like Delonte that we can help, of course I'm going to do that. But the bigger issue is, you know, now we have to be able to put together programs for our employees so that they know that as they deal with the pressures of a pandemic, of their children, or just things, you know, everybody's wired differently. We want to be able to provide them resources because you want people to feel confident and able to come to work and do their job and also be a benefit to the community. And that often takes mental health resources. And it's the same in the community that you live within as well. If you want people to respect your brand as a company, if you want people to respect you as a CEO, as an entrepreneur, as a leader, a civic leader, then you have to recognize that mental health, among other issues, is something that needs to be addressed and needs all the help it can get because it's still relatively new in terms of people's acceptance as an illness that needs to be dealt with in the corporate environment and with the community environment. So I you know, and it affected us in our family as well. So it's also personal to me. And so where I've been able to help, I've always tried to.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. This pandemic crisis actually made the mental health more and more serious. And
Yes.
thank you for setting up a great example for us to follow, to help the community and help others. So most people these days they know you are you as an extremely successful entrepreneur, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks, all from Shark Tank. That wasn't always the case. Can you please
No.
tell us about how you got started in business? And
Oh my.
I heard you were fired from your first job. What
So
happened?
how far back do you want me to go? Like 12 years old, 10 years old, or just college? Or
Your first job after you graduated from college.
okay, so let's go in college. When I was in college, I had to pay for my own schooling, and so I always had to have a company that I was starting or doing something. And so I did a lot of things. My senior year in college, I opened a bar on campus. So that was kind of my first attempt at being a mainstream business. And it did well until the police came and closed it down because I let in my underage friend. So that disappeared. And then when I got down to Dallas, I got a job as a bartender. During the day, I got a job working for a software company, one of the first PC software companies in Dallas. And during that time, I taught myself about all the new software and hardware that was out, the IBM P, Lotus 1, 2, 3, you name it. And I was living with 6 guys in a 3-bedroom apartment at the time, sleeping on the floor with nothing. And I actually had a chance to close the deal that would have earned me a $1,500 commission. And
Wow.
so I went to my boss at the time, and one of my responsibilities was opening up the retail store. And I asked him if I could go pick up this check, which would have been $15,000 to the store, 1,500 to me. And he said, no, you have to open up the store. And so I made the executive decision to go pick up the check, thinking if I handed my boss, who needed this deal as much as I did, a check, he'd change his mind. Fired me. Fired me like that. And that led me to realize I wasn't a great employee. And I started a company called Micro Solutions, which was one of the first and earliest systems integrators in Dallas. And we grew to become, and that was when I was 24. And by the time I was 30, we were one of the largest system integrators for doing custom software around local and wide area networks in the country. At one time, we were IBM's largest token ring, if anybody remembers token ring, largest token ring integrator. And so just doing stuff around networking is how I built up my first company. And we got to about 36 million in sales and 80, 90 employees. But the thing I was most proud of, the two things I was most proud of, Eric, is when we sold the company, all the employees were shareholders and they all did really well. And two, out of all those employees, I had one person leave, only one, and that person came back a few months later. So 100% of our employees, every single employee we ever hired to that company stayed with us.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Also for the audience, for your first job, if you get fired, don't worry, your future is still bright. So,
Yeah, right. It turned out okay.
so if you was in a business person or entrepreneur, which job would you like to attempt?
Well, assuming I still can't be a basketball player, that's a great question. I'm not sure what I'd be good at. I'm really competitive, and I'm one of those people that unless I think I can be really good at something, I'm not going to try it. I'd probably figure out a way, like if it's today, like if I was starting today and just graduating from college and couldn't find what to do, I'd probably figure out, teach myself more on how to Amazon Alexa, voice programming, and then also teach myself how to do better at Python and really understand AI and possibly be a data scientist, because obviously that's where everything's going. And so if I was just needing to make money, I'd program Alexas for businesses and homes and consumers and whatever else I can. And if I was looking for a career, I'd be a data scientist.
Thank you, Mark. After I back to home today, I will tell my kids to start learning programming. Thank you. That's good advice. So I mentioned earlier that my friend Andre Iguodala, he is here too at Zoomtopia. He's going to be joining us later for a Zoom in moment. So where he's going to walk us through a couple of yoga poses. If you did a Zoom in moment, what is a hidden talent that you would share with us?
A hidden talent that I have,
Yeah.
tell Andre I'd get buckets on him. But after that, I can play the piano a little bit. Um, I don't know. I don't know that I have any hidden talents. I can't tell jokes. I'm not a great like water skier or skier or any of that stuff. You know, um, my piano and guitar playing are awful. Particularly if you ask my kids, I can't sing. I can't dance. Maybe dancing. That's what I'd be. I'd be a hip hop dancer. Just go on TikTok. M Cuban on TikTok. You'll see me.
That's awesome. We launched on Zoom service this morning. I think you can host a dancing class. I'll be the
Let's
first
go.
one. I'll be the first one to join you.
Let's go. Let's see your renegade. Renegade.
I love that. So at Zoomtopia this year, our visual theme this year is epic environments, celebrating some of the Earth's most dramatic natural locations. You have traveled the world. What is the most epic environment you have visited? What's your favorite memory of that place and why?
Oh my goodness, my favorite epic environment. Honestly, I'm just a blue sky sunset guy, right? If you can put me anywhere in the world, and if I can see the sun setting with the blue sky, I am thrilled to death. I mean, I've traveled a lot of places in the world, and while I've seen all kinds of unique structures and skyscrapers, you name it, if you just put me down with a cool chair, a chair, way just to look up the sun. I mean, look at the sky and sunset. I am the happiest guy on the planet, and I'm glad you guys are doing things with epic locations because we got to protect our environment. We've got to protect this planet. There's just so many beautiful places and so many wondrous aspects to it in our ecology. So it's nice to see people recognizing and respecting what happens on this planet.
Wow, that's another reason why I like you so much, Mark. I think I can join you anytime. The blue sunside with a beer, I think that's awesome.
What more do you need, right?
You're so right. So let's talk about a little bit about the future of work for a minute. So post pandemic, you have a stake in many different kinds of businesses. You own a sports team, you are on a TV show, and you have ownership stakes in production companies and multiple small startups as well. So from your perspective, how are you thinking about returning to work?
My perspective is our employees become our customers in a lot of respects. When we do business as Zoom, one of the beautiful things about Zoom is I can Zoom how I want, where I want, when I want. And by aggregating together and aggregating that intellectual capital that Zoom enables, right, amazing things can happen. And I think we have to start looking at our employees the same way. Where do they want to work? How do they want to work? What's the best way to make them productive? And add a little bit of layer of innovation. And I don't just mean technology as well, because getting people into an office, I've always had open offices and I've liked the idea of management by walking around and then open communications. But, as I go through all this, my sense is we'll have social gatherings in order to enhance the connectivity between employees, but we'll ask them where and how they want to work. How are they going to be more productive? Some people are going to say, I like an office, I like being around people, and we'll make that happen. And then those people will be able to communicate with the other people who say, you know what, I prefer being home with my kids. I don't like the 1 hour commute each way or 30 minutes each way. I don't like the idea of having to get a bagel downstairs at the coffee shop for my lunch, right, or whatever it may be, depending on the circumstances in the company. But being able to be adaptive and understanding that our employees are our customers in order to be a truly productive company, I think that's where we'll see this evolve. And plus, as new generations graduate, Gen Z in particular, it's so native to them right now to be able to do what they want, where they want, how they want to do it. They'll guide us as well and come up with new ideas. I think the best ideas won't come from me. They'll come from our employees. And we'll have, they'll be thinking of moving up instead of thinking coming down.
That's why you are a great boss because you look at everything from your employee perspective. If somebody I visit Dallas, I will work for you for one day.
I haven't always done that. You learn. Things change. And that's the thing about being successful, where you guys have been great, right? You have to be agile. You have to be adaptive. You have to be resilient. And all these things play together because things will change. The pandemic has been horrific, and we'll get to the other side, but there'll be other business interrupting events of one sort or another. It may be technology, it may be weather, it may
Yep.
be who knows what, right? And so we have to be adaptive. And when things are changing like this, you have to listen to your employees. You have to be authentic, because we all get scared. CEOs get scared, right? Employees get scared, customers get scared. And so you can't lie, you can't spin, you can't
Yep.
twist it up. You have to be authentic. And that's how brands are built. That's how great companies are made. And it's going to come from your employees.
Awesome. So given that I'm going to work for you for one day in the future, what do you think going to work is going to look like in 3 or 5 years?
Again, it'll really depend on how our employees like to work. I think, I couldn't tell you like everybody's going to work from home, or offices are going to look the same. I don't think they are. I think we'll connect people together in different ways. It may well be that there'll be communal locations where we'll bring customers and employees for a certain group together. We'll extend what would have been a department out to all the relative stakeholders and let them all work together in some manner or another. And the technology that they'll use, with 5G evolving to 6G and Wi-Fi evolving to Wi-Fi 6 or whatever comes next, right? And AI and maybe even virtual reality allow us to connect in different ways, and then 10 years from now, we'll be talking about avatars, right? We'll be talking about being able to sit and let, an avatar in a certain set of circumstances. We haven't even gotten into chatbots and how smart, AI is getting with linguistics. And, I was just reading up about Mina, and I forget something pod that beat Mina and their linguistic capabilities, right? And so these are things that are going to change how we visualize and how we implement new work environments and adaptations.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier you wanted to learn some coding. And what kind of kid were you? And also, were there any early signs that you'd go on to be an entrepreneur and pursue this kind of career?
Yes, in terms of being an entrepreneur, I was that kid who was grinding and hustling all the time. I was selling baseball cards to my friends. I was buying and selling stamps. I was selling garbage bags door to door. You name it. Because my dad, neither one of my parents went to school. My mom was a young mom, and it was all new to them too. And so they always just encouraged me to figure things out for myself, because it wasn't like they were just giving me money and saying, go buy whatever you want. But they were always, if you can figure out how to earn it, you can do whatever you want with the money. So I always was going towards being an entrepreneur. In terms of what my aptitude was, I really didn't even touch technology until after college. I was not a tech guy at all. But once I got that job at Your Business Software, selling software, I realized I had an aptitude for it. And I was the kind of person that could sit there in front of a manual. Like I remember sitting in front of a Visual Basic manual, sitting in front of, I still have a book, assembly language, showing you how far back I go, right? Or C++, and just sitting down there and grinding it out and teaching myself little projects and being able to do this or that. And so once I figured out I had the aptitude plus that entrepreneurial bent, then I knew I was going to get into technology and really push forward.
That's awesome. Looks like you were already an entrepreneur when you were a kid. That's
Yep.
amazing. So here at Zoom, we really like to promote, employees always read a book. So what kind of books do you like to read? And is there anything you are reading up on now?
Yeah, I'm a tech geek now. I'm reading Competing in the Age of AI, I think it's called. I just finished rebooting AI. I read some political books. I forget the name of the political system, I think it's called. And so I like to read, and right now it's more technology, just because AI is moving so quickly. And you used to be able to keep up with all the research papers. There'd be 100 a month, and you'd pick some things you were interested in, and I could do a tutorial or whatever. Now there's so much happening that I like reading the books, because they find you different elements. Because as well as anybody, if not more so, AI is hard. AI is really hard, really expensive, really time consuming to do well. There are no shortcuts. And as an investor, I want to be able to understand, because everybody says they know AI and they have it down. And the reality is so few people do. And so that's really where I spend a lot of my time in terms of reading, is trying to keep up and trying to find the best ways to understand it. Because I'm not going to sit here and write, and do a million variable model, let alone the billion plus variable models that, some of these things are coming out with.
Awesome. I guess in addition to teaching dance on Zoom, you also can teach AI now. You have another class.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But at least you got to be able to understand it, right? You got to be able to understand it. And particularly for entrepreneurs out there, we're turning into a world of AI have and AI have nots, where it's very difficult for small companies to understand how to implement it. And even if they do implement it, there's this bias to think that anything that pops out of an AI model must be right, and that's a real challenge for companies, particularly smaller companies. So that's why, I'm trying to be one of the people up to speed in my organization to help all those small investments.
That's awesome. I think you are very, very known as a great investor. I want to know, do people randomly come up and pitch you on the street? What's the worst idea you have ever heard in a pitch?
Oh my goodness, that I'm allowed to say in polite company. Eric, I get pitched everywhere. I've been literally in the bathroom at a urinal, and people start pitching me, like followed into the bathroom, chased down the street for someone to pitch me an idea. But probably the worst is somebody who wanted to help me with the Mavericks. And he wanted to invent the Afro wigs that were like 2 feet high, and he swore that it wouldn't change anything, so that if a guy could jump high enough, right, you wouldn't block it with his hands. He would just use the wig to block the shot. I think Andre Iguodala would be an investor and would do really well with that.
I will tell him. So by the way, just curious. So if I pitch you the Zoom idea and back in 2011, would you have invested?
Maybe, because I was investing in a lot of video back then, but there were a lot of, there were a lot of people that were trying to do video and hosting and everything, and different varieties of YouTube. But knowing you as an entrepreneur, definitely.
Thank you, Mark. I truly, truly appreciate it. So another question, I'm a huge fan of Kobe Bryant. I was crying when I heard about the news early this year. So in addition to Kobe, look at the NBA history. Who are the top player you think is your favorite player? Why is that?
I'm not going to put them in a particular order.
Yeah. Just one or two. Yeah.
The top players, including Kobe, would be Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Dirk, and that would be and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So that would be my top 8.
That's awesome. All of them not only superstars, but all of them also great leaders.
Yes, you have to be. To be great in the NBA, you have to have leadership qualities.
So you own a theater chain and also a production company and a home video network. You pioneered the idea of day and date releases, releasing movies on demand and on DVD on the same day, or even before they come out in theaters. So what do you think about cinema will look like in 10 years? How will we be consuming?
That's a great question. Well, fortunately for us, we sold our theater chain, the Landmark Theater chain, 2 years ago. So we were lucky there. But to answer your question, bits are bits. The way back when we started the streaming industry back in 1995, right, with AudioNet, we always looked at it as bits are bits. They don't care what's in them. They don't care where you present them. They don't care how you encode them. And it's just a question of what you can digitize and transmit, just like your business, right? And so I think theaters will follow the same path. There will still be where digital presentation of content will follow the same path. There will still be theaters because you don't want your kids, your 16-year-old son and daughter, being on the couch in the basement, Netflixing and chilling on a first date, right?
Yep.
You want them to be able to get out, and people get cabin fever, so they're going to want to still go to theaters. I don't think there's going to be as many screens. I think there's 30, I forget the exact number, a huge number of screens, but there's probably going to be half as many screens. I think like we did, we started Day and Date back in 2006, where we made the movie. Our first movie was Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room, which got nominated for an Academy Award. You didn't know this, Eric, but I've been nominated for 7 Academy Awards as an executive producer. 1 for Enron and 6 for Good Night and Good Luck, which were the first 2 movies we did with Todd Wagner and I. I thought it was going to be easy. It went from there. But in any event, so we made Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room. We owned HDNet, which was the first all high definition TV network, Landmark Theaters, Magnolia Pictures, and then we went, because this is right from the beginning when cable companies were going digital, so they were going to be able to store, bandwidth or storage was becoming more fungible, right? Even though bandwidth was still limited. And so we wanted to be able to offer how people, whatever content we produce, where, how, and when people wanted to consume it. And the biggest challenge wasn't the technology. The biggest challenges were the rules of the marketplace, right? Because theaters don't want any of that product to be distributed in ways anywhere before theaters. And so to answer your question, the biggest inhibitor right now to seeing everything going day and date is the theater industry really trying to stop it. Now the pandemic is making it tough for them to do so. So you're seeing movies like Mulan get released on Disney Plus. But I think what will end up happening is those theaters will end up getting bought by big production studios, big content providers, so that it truly can be a vertically integrated presentation with no inhibitors in how the content is shown, because that's the way it should be, right? We'll want to go to theaters. Going to a theater is fun, particularly if you're watching a big tentpole movie and everybody's screaming, yelling, and clapping at the same time. It's a lot of fun, but having these extraneous rules, like it's got to be 90 days after a theater showing before you can put it on TV or on DVD or whatever, or distribute it digitally, that's artificial and that has to change.
That's awesome. So Mark, I realize every time I see you or talk with you or see you on TV, you're always very energetic. I see your energy level exactly the same, very, very high. Any tips, any advice?
I work out a lot. I have fun. Look, I'm the luckiest guy in the world, Eric. I get to spend time with my family. I get to, focus on the things I like to do, and I get to learn about the things that are interesting to me. In regular days, I get to go where I wanted to go when I wanted to go there. And so if I can't enjoy my life, my family, then something's wrong, right? The greatest gift that we all get is time. And I really, really try to value my time highly, because it's the one thing you can't buy, and it's the one thing you can never get enough of. And so I think that helps me, that gives me a lot of energy, because I don't want to lose it. And it's something my dad said. My dad would always tell me, today's the youngest you'll ever be, so live like it. And a lot of people might think it's today's the youngest moment for themselves, but most people don't live like it. As you get older, you think, wow, I'm 30. Wow, I'm 25. I'm so old. I'm a quarter of a century. Wow, I'm 30. Oh my goodness, I'm 40. I'm 50. And each milestone you hit, you think you're older. And then you think back to those younger days and think 25 was nothing. 30 was nothing, right? And so I try to think about it. Okay, I already know what I'm going to think looking back, right? I already know that when I look back to today, I'm going to think, wow, that's nothing. I was young then. And I want to live like that. I want to live so that when I'm 90, 95, 115 years old, I'm going to look back and say, you know what? I lived young.
Thank you, Mark. starting today, I will follow your advice. So thank you again for your time. Thank you to our great guest, Mark Cuban. Let's give Mark a big round of applause.
Thank you for having me, Eric. It was a lot of fun. You did a great job asking questions. I really enjoyed it. Congrats on all your success. I know it's been a long, long ride, and everybody thinks you're an overnight success, but it takes a long, long, long road, a lot of hustle, a lot of grind, a lot of ups and downs. So congratulations on what you've been able to accomplish. I know it hasn't been easy.
Thank you, Mark. I look forward to the dance class on Zoom. Thank you. Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thank you.